Hold on to your butts.
Don't move, you're surrounded by armed bastards.
What are we going to do?
Well, I say let's get out there and twat it.
Hello and welcome back to the Cabin Night Podcast. I'm Rob.
I'm Jake.
I'm James.
Today we have a very special episode and it comes from a listener request from the other side of the pond. I believe it was Michigan. Is he from Michigan?
That's a place.
Michigan, yeah.
That's a place,
That's definitely a place.
And it's from a gent named Nick Opolowski. I hope I've pronounced that right, Nick, if you are listening. He asked us to do this a while back based on the Undertaker episode that we did. He asked for a career in review of a certain wrestler. And that wrestler, so the discussion today will be about the Barbarian. But before we get there, we'd like you to grab a drink, make yourself comfortable and enjoy the discussion. As I did with the Undertaker, I've got a little bit of a spiel to go through. It's a little bit longer than the Undertaker one because we stopped when Undertaker got to WWE because the rest was history on that one, but this one is a little bit more. So again, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing these names right. Sione Javi Valee, better known by his ring name the Barbarian, was born on September the 6th, 1958. He's known for various stints with NWA, WCW and WWF. And for being part of the tag teams Powers of Pain with the Warlord, Faces of Fear with Meng, or Haku depending on how you know him, and part of the New Head Shrinkers with Fatu. He was born and raised in Tonga. He was one of 6 young men that the King of Tonga sent to Japan to study sumo wrestling in the mid-70s. He was known as...
I did not know that.
Sachino Shima, and he's in the sumo circles.
Oh, okay. I didn't know about this.
I literally that was one bit that I pulled out yesterday when I was doing a bit more research on him.
Oh, right.
He made his wrestling debut in 1980 against Killer Carl Krupp.
He sounds nice.
I don't know who that is. I've never heard of him.
Tune in next time as we do a career in review of Killer Carl Krupp.
In Modesto, California, and I feel this was probably due to the time. I think probably quite racially insensitive. He was called King Konga at the time.
Okay.
Yes, then. Absolutely.
After a short name, he changed his name to Konga the Barbarian, which makes a little bit more sense. He was at the inaugural Great American Bash, where he teamed with superstar Billy Graham and Abdullah the Butcher. It wasn't very good because they lost. They lost to Sam Houston, Manny Fernandez and Buzz Tyler in a 6-man tag match.
This is educational.
Yeah, well, there you go. I've done a fair bit of research into this one, you know. He appeared in the 1987 movie Body Slam.
Did he?
Apparently, as Axe, part of the tag team called Cannibals. I've never seen or nor heard of this movie.
Oh, I've seen it, but a long time
The only one
ago.
I know is the one that Zeus is in.
No Holds Barred.
No Holds Barred.
He's got an amazing thing. No Holds Barred.
Well, there's Suburban Commando as well.
Oh, no, but it's a film about wrestling.
Yeah.
Oh, about wrestling.
Yes,
It's not just containing wrestlers.
Was it Dookie? He goes, Dookie?
In late 87, he formed a tag team with Ivan Koloff, who was his coach at the time. And during that time, the Powers of Pain were formerly were tag team with them. So there was the 3 of them. So it was Ivan Koloff and the Warlord. And they were just another team that were big. So naturally, they went against the Road Warriors.
Yes.
As every big tag team did. They had a 6-man tag match against Cody Rhodes. No, not Cody Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes.
Dusty Rhodes.
You're the one.
And Road Warriors in a barbed wire match at Clash of the Champions.
I think I've seen that.
Yeah. It came around the time because I think just shortly after that, Road Warriors turned on Dusty and stabbed him with the spikes and they blinded him.
Right, yes.
Blinded him
Yeah.
in wrestling terms.
Oh, yeah.
The reason why they left Jim Crockett Promotions at the time was because Crockett decided they wanted them to have a series of scaffold matches against the Road Warriors. They basically went, we're too big for this. We can't be. I mean, the Warlord 6'3" or 4 and Barbarian's 6'2".
He was quite bulky
And
at the time.
300, both from a 300 odd
He
pound.
was quite bulky at the time.
I mean, I know the Road Warriors were big, but they were still quite athletic. Well, Hawk certainly was at that point. So they didn't choose to participate, and then the commentator said, "Oh, the Road Warriors had scared them off," and they went to WWE or WWF as it was at the time. The Powers of Pain were fan favourites initially because they teamed against the Demolition or Demolition, and who were the heels at the time. They were initially. Do you know who they were initially managed by?
Mr. Fuji.
No, Mr. Fuji turned on Demolition to go with
Yes.
it was double turn.
Jimmy Cornette? What? I don't know.
No.
Was it Jimmy Hart?
It was with Jimmy Hart in the
It was Jimmy
first
Hart.
family. That's what it was called, the first family.
I say, Jimmy Hart managed him in WCW.
Yeah, but it was Tito Santana.
Was it?
Because I did write this little bit down. Demolition storyline injured Martel. Who they were Strike Force at the time.
Yes.
Santana and Martel were Strike Force.
Before the model, yes.
Yeah. So they storyline injured Martel, which left Tito Santana with nobody. So he managed them for a while.
Okay.
Their debut match, his debut match was in a TV taping in June of 1988. They were Warlord and it were Powers of Pain. They were a replacement for Strike Force in a tag team title match.
Who's Strike Force?
Tito Santana.
And Rick Martel.
They beat Demolition, but it was via count-out, so they didn't win the titles.
It's a classic dusty finish.
Yes. Their first televised debut was on July the 16th episode of Superstars, and they defeated... What I like is this has been changed now, because it's now Enhancement Talent on everything I've looked at. It used to be Jobbers, didn't it?
Oh, is that what jobbers are called? That enhancement talent?
Talent,
Oh, okay,
yeah,
I didn't realise that.
Iron
wanky.
Mike Sharp and Tony Ulysses, whoever they are.
No, don't.
Survivor Series of that year, they led a tag team against Demolition's team, and Demolition got turned on by Fuji.
Yeah, it was double turn, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The Demolition turned face and
Yeah.
Powers of Pain turned heel, yeah.
Yeah, and
I
Fuji
do remember
left
that, yeah.
for them.
Because then Fuji started putting on the makeup, didn't
Yeah,
he?
he
Started
did.
putting on the makeup. That was
Yeah.
great, yeah.
Yeah, he'd got little bits around his eyes, like black around his eyes.
But still had the full suit and everything, so
Yeah.
it looked really weird.
They officially confirmed it was a new manager on December the 12th of that year. The year later, Bobby Heenan became the manager of the Barbarian as part of the Heenan family. During the time after that, till he left the WWE, he had only one major match, which was a loss at a Battle Royal at Albert Hall to the British Bulldog.
Because I was going to lose that match, then at Royal Albert Hall.
Yeah. He left to go to WCW shortly after that, and his televised debut was as a villain on the July 4th episode of Saturday Night. He defeated Steve Pritchard. No relation to Bruce Pritchard, I assume?
I don't know, actually.
Or is Steve Pritchard not one of the Heavenly Bodies?
Oh, God, I can't remember. It all gets a bit murky for me in that sort of era.
While he was in
Welcome to my
WCW,
world.
he did have two challenges for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship.
Oh, I didn't have a chance for the world. No, I went for TV a few times.
He had two. One against the first first recognised African American championship, Ron Simmons. And the other one was Big Van Vader.
God, I bet that was a hoss fight. Jesus. Vader versus Barbarian. Jesus.
I can imagine. He left in shortly after that one, and he had a title contest for the TV title, which was a tournament, and he lost to the Real Man's Man.
Ah, Steven Regal.
Stephen Regal.
Or was he Lord? He would have been Lord Regal at that point.
It was Steve Regal at this point.
Yeah, okay.
Well, it doesn't say we're Lord at this point. Obviously, it was Steve.
Regal. Okay.
It came off television at that point, and then he just did house shows for a while till his contract ended. He returned to WWE on June the 6th of 1994 at a house show to face none other than Razor Ramon as a substitute for Diesel. Later on that year, on September the 1st, the Barbarian replaced an injured Samu and teamed with Fatu against two dudes with attitude.
Diesel and...
No.
Oh, who's that?
Shawn Michaels and Diesel.
Yeah, about to say.
For the tag team titles, and then later that month he was permanently replaced Samu, and he was named Sione, which I'd forgotten about, but when I read that, I was like, oh yeah, I remember.
No, I forgot he did.
One of the new head shrinkers. By 1995 July, he had the head shrinkers had dissolved and he'd gone back to WCW. He came back to WCW wearing a mask with his former Powers of Pain tag team, the Warlord. They were part of Kevin Sullivan's Dungeon of Doom. Jake's like getting a school lesson here.
Yes, the alliance to end Hulkamania, wasn't it? Yeah.
And he was put with his tag team, his new tag team, Haku, or Meng as he was then. They were called the Faces of Fear on the January 29 episode of Monday Nitro. They lost to the returning Road Warriors, so again that feud stayed going. The faces appear part of the alliance to end Hulk Hogan and Hulkamania. They had a Doomsday Cage match at Uncensored, which Savage and Hogan won anyway. So
Have you ever seen it?
Yeah, it's terrible.
It's awful. It is so bad. It is Hogan booking all over that. It is atrocious.
I'm going over. I don't care.
I feel like we need to subject Jake to this atrocity that is.
Sorry, I'm just kicking the
microphone. Yeah, we subject you to that.
Yeah.
That is awful.
That might be an episode in itself. Let Jake watch it and just leave the mic in front of Jake.
What is this?
We're nearly at the end of this one now. Faces of Fear competed in the tag team division throughout '97, failed to get any championship success. The Dungeon of Doom disbanded after the Taskmaster's retirement. Not the Shockmaster.
Not the Shockmaster or the other one.
The Tugmaster.
The Shockmaster.
Yeah, where's the Tugmaster fit into all this? Bring back the Tugmaster.
On the 29th of September episode of Nitro, Barbarian lost to the newcomer, Goldberg, making him one of the first in the streak for Goldberg. His last televised match on WCW was March 27th on an episode of Thunder in 2000. A loss to the World Television Championship, Jim Duggan. His contract was terminated in April of 2000 in an effort to lower in budget costs, which, I mean...
How did that work out?
The more things change.
Yeah. He's been amazed at independent circuit. He wrestled a couple of matches in 2012 for Shikara, and he's any sort of local indie promotion, he tends to go around and wrestle them. He is the uncle and trainer of anybody that watches TNA or watched TNA at one point, Lady Tapper. She was like a Nia Jax or a Tamina type.
Oh, okay.
That sort of type character.
Terrifying then.
Yeah, but they made a big deal that Barbarian was her uncle.
Okay.
She's a. I don't think she's a third generation because I don't think her dad did, but they billed her as because she's part of the family that was. She is German. She was a women's wrestler, MMA fighter, and a professional boxer.
So it can kill us quite easily.
Yes.
Yeah, right, fair enough.
Just in that one sentence, she sounds more exciting than Barbarian.
So, it wouldn't be very discussion if we didn't have a bit of a chat about it. Jake, what's your thoughts on the Barbarian?
Barbarian, right, you guys need to listen in there, because my Barbarian knowledge is extensive. Right?
All right, okay.
Okay, yeah.
What I don't know about the Barbarian, it's not worth knowing.
Thanks for your input, Jake.
Yeah, I think that.
Are you going now? Go on, you talk for a bit then.
No, you're all right.
You can go.
Carry on.
You can go.
No,
I've got some questions. We're all good.
I suppose all I would ask is, having certainly in memory never seen him wrestle, what was his style? I mean, was he just generic big man? Did he have?
It was kind of for the time as well. It was very generic big. But like when you said about the Road Warriors matches, it was like watching.
Yeah.
You know, generally you see like the old mirror routine type. It was a bit like that.
When they was with the Warlord, they had a which is a question later on, so I'm not going to read it out now. They had a finisher which was very similar to another big man tag finisher. They did a version of the Doomsday Device,
right?
Kind of, really, of a fashion. So they were quite athletic because he was the Hawk jumping off the rope.
Yeah, he was. I mean, even though he's quite big, he was the mover.
He was the littler one of the two of them.
Yes, and then when he was with Haku or Meng at the time, they were both, because he's surprisingly quick, isn't he?
Yeah.
Meng. But
he was.
For the time and the style of wrestling, it was sort of generic, kind of big bulky man do chop.
Is there anybody in today's big man roster that sort of matches that style?
No, because that kind of style of wrestling doesn't really exist anymore.
No. It was all test of strengths, shoulder barges.
Yeah.
Just to try and get dominance because I'm a big guy. I'm going to try and take it out.
very very theatrical in that respect. Very very theatrical, like the show rather.
It was always the
like holding.
Rob was saying like test of strength.
It was always the what did Gorilla Monsoon used to say, the immovable force.
How was it? The unstoppable force beating the immovable objects.
That's it. Yeah. It was always who's bigger, who can do more damage.
Which always made me laugh because Jerry King Lawler put a spin on that. There was one Rumble when Rikishi was in it and Viscera came in and went, "Oh my god, it's the unstoppable force beating the immovable objects, and they're both unliftable."
Isn't that what JBL said about Ryback?
Oh, that's still, mate. It's one of the few good calls JBL ever made, yeah.
All the grace of a falling
Sofa.
sofa.
Or couch, because he's American.
Well,
but
yeah, couch.
But yeah, sofa. Yeah, that's probably the best call JBL ever made, I think.
Does anybody know any of his finishing moves?
Nope. That may shock you.
He had
Nope.
he had 3 at different points. One of them I do remember. and
One's
think-
got to be a splash, right?
No,
Okay.
I generally can't remember. Actually.
kind of. He did a version of a diving headbutt.
Did he?
Can't imagine that were an easy bump to take.
No.
Especially that
He
side.
did the kick of fear when he was with Meng.
Oh,
in the Face
yeah,
of
yeah.
Fear.
Because that's what Haku did, didn't
Yeah,
he?
which
So,
is
yeah.
pretty
Kick
much
of
just a running super kick.
Okay.
Or just a big boot.
A big boot, yeah.
Big running boot.
Very sort of standard big man move, really.
Yeah, and then
One that
the other
Sheamus has
standard
got
big man
and one
move.
that Drew McIntyre's got. And,
The other standard big man move.
The claw.
The claw.
Head claw.
oh, the head claw, yeah. If your hand's big enough, that really hurts.
I know, but again, it's a very theatrical move.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, the big boot kick, that's a very underrated move.
Yeah.
Do you know who I think the best at the big boot was? Test.
Yeah.
Test does not get enough love
But
for
that-
being a big man.
That also looks the most dangerous because it looks like he doesn't give a shit.
No,
He's going to kick you.
No, apparently he was really good at pulling
Yeah.
it. He
You
apparently
know,
actually went through the same
who I
work.
thought did a good big boot. And again, for a big guy, was quite athletic. I forget his name. Is it Bill Buchanan?
Bull Buchanan.
Bill Buchanan, yeah.
I mean, I think you're the only person to ever put Bull Buchanan in the sentence that I thought he was good.
What was his?
He
his
was
one
athletic
before?
for a big
When
guy.
he-
Oh, when he was part of the Truth Commission. Oh, yeah, what was he called?
Or when he was John Cena's.
Oh, he's B squared when he was John
Yeah,
Cena's
that's it.
mate.
That's it.
Anyway,
I didn't say he was good, I said he was athletic.
to be fair, again, he was another guy that his size was quite deceiving. He was actually quite a quick mover for how big he was, Bull
Yeah.
Buchanan. But again, everyone has a go at Matt Bloom, Albert having so many gimmicks. Bull Buchanan had quite a few
Yeah,
as
he did.
well.
Is he dead now?
Who, Bull Buchanan? I don't think so.
What does he do these days?
I don't know. I don't follow him on the twits, so I don't know. That's what the kids.
Has anybody ever called it the twits?
I don't know what the kids say nowadays.
You're the Twitter man. You should be
Yeah,
following him.
your social
In
media.
that case, no, they don't call it that. Sounds like you need to go to the toilet. I've got a bad case of the twits.
Considering most of his run, or most of his various runs, was in tag teams. Jake, I'm gonna push you for an answer on this one. Was he better as a solo wrestler or in a tag team?
Well, I would answer that with another question.
Who are you?
No,
Who is the Barbarian?
do you think? I suppose it's the same question you just asked. And do you think he would have been better if he'd had a bigger push as a singles wrestler, as a singles competitor, or was he always meant to be part of a team?
He came up in a time when there were just too many other big men. Really.
Well, I mean, before when he went WCW or Jim
I
Crockett.
forget that the champions at the time were the champions big men. That's just the time of wrestling, as it were.
Yeah, but like as the kind of, I mean, I suppose he'd have been the unstoppable heel foreign menace, that was very popular, even though he wasn't foreign.
Well, there's Tom.
Well, but Tonga's kind of been. America kind of goes, oh, we'll have that too.
Yeah, we'll take that
the new
bit.
British Empire.
Yeah.
We'll have you.
Yeah.
I know, was he better? I don't know. It's too. I always like the idea of the Barbarian. I think he could have worked as literally that, a barbarian mercenary kind of. Oh, we're going to kill you now, right? Here's a I've paid to get the Barbarian to come and
Come in and sort of squash and then...
Yeah, I think he worked well as that, or could have worked well as that rather. But
I don't think he got the push that he deserved.
Was he capable then? Do you reckon
he
was
could be.
capable of
I
having
think
that?
he could have done a lot more for his size and everything. Yeah, he could do a lot more.
Well, to be challenge twice for a world title, he's got to have got to a point where where the bookers were wanting to put him in.
I know they didn't set as much store, if any, by sort of what we'd call today mic work. But what was he like as a personality?
I mean, he always had someone doing the talking for him.
Yeah,
He always had a manager, always had a mouthpiece.
He did
but again, that
do little bits.
But again, for the character who's playing that again for the time of wrestling he was coming up, that worked. For who he was, it worked better for him.
Yeah, because compare him to somebody like the Berserker, who always had a manager and didn't really speak. He was that sort of. He said little bits, and it was probably all he needed to do at the time to get the mic work over. But they didn't really have the big promos that.
They were all larger than life. The promo,
Yeah.
like the Ultimate Warrior's famous one.
Yeah.
Rip open the cockpit door, Hulk Hogan. Oh, you've not lived until you've watched at least one Ultimate Warrior promo.
I mean, I've seen a few, and they're all just so full of roids. They're just all.
Yeah.
It's funny.
I'm sure there's one that's just doing an animal impersonation, just going back with the guys going, ah! Just going back and.
Like Alan Grant in Jurassic Park when he grabs the.
It really is.
I think for me, I remember him more as the Barbarian, as a solo singles wrestler.
Okay.
So I think he was better, and I think he got lost really when he went in. So with Mengi was probably better because they were different in size. So they got the big man and the more of the mover guy, because Haku was pretty speedy. But when he was with Warlord, they were both just two big dudes that didn't do a lot, but what they did do was impactful.
And Warlord wasn't great. He was all right. They were both fine mid-carders.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. They were both fine mid-carders.
Yeah, I think that's
where we would put them in today's thing.
Yeah.
mid-card.
Yeah. If they were to come up today, they'd be
I
fine
suppose
mid-carders.
That's what I'm trying to get a handle on, because I don't recall seeing any matches. I probably did when I was younger. Like I say, it was something that was always on in our house growing up, but I don't recall him, off the top of my head. So I'm just trying to get as good a impression as I can from what you two are saying, seeing as you two have seen him wrestle. And the best way I can do that is figure out what he would look like today and where he would fit into today's wrestling
the
scene.
closest modern equivalent would be someone like the Viking Raiders.
Right, yeah. Okay.
Even though the Viking Raiders have a lot more athletic skill, because part of the Viking Raiders gimmick is that they're a lot more athletic than
They do the cruiserweight stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's why I love the Viking Raiders.
I mean, they don't, like I say, they don't have that just the big man that is just kind of not really knockable, just standing, just.
The closest they get, I suppose, the closest they got to that in recent years was Great Khali, because he couldn't take a bump, otherwise he'd smash.
Yeah.
He didn't look none too clever walking.
I suppose
down to the ring anyway.
It was painful watching him walk.
I suppose the only other one I can think of in sort of modern times was early
Braun
Strowman, when he didn't do a great deal at the beginning.
I suppose.
They did a lot of that thing where they'd sort of bounce off at ropes.
When he was part of the Wyatt family.
Just stand there.
Yeah, I mean, Braun greatly improved as time went on.
Yeah.
But at the start,
that would be the modern equivalent.
Yeah,
he
was a bit of a threat. Yeah,
didn't really talk much, didn't do a lot. People ran into him and just fell over, that sort of thing. So it would, early Braun.
There we go.
Chairs at people.
There's what Omos.
Yeah.
Omos, and it feels like we're just dragging down the Barbarian now because Omos isn't that good. But that's the modern equivalent.
But
of
they don't have that.
Didn't Undertaker highly rate Omos or something? Undertaker says he's really good.
No, I think he said he's really tall.
No, I'm pretty sure I read an interview.
He's not the tallest man you've ever seen. AJ Styles has been distracted by how tall he is. No, I genuinely don't know. I mean, I'd be very surprised if Undertaker did rate.
I'm sure. Honestly, the last interview I read with the Undertaker, and he said, a lot of people have got their opinions on him and what have you, but I think is as a big man myself, he's got it. Were his words to that effect.
Okay.
So,
do you know his
again, I've not seen Omos wrestle, so I don't know.
He hasn't really wrestled that much, has he?
He's not wrestled a lot. No.
Who is he? What's his faction now?
He's not with anyone at the moment.
He was AJ's bodyguard
for
a while. Did you know that Barbarian won a Slammy Award?
What for?
He won it in 1994 when he was part of the New Headshrinkers.
What, tag team of the year?
Best etiquette.
Right.
So he was a good person to work with then. Is that?
I would say so.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's meant to be. He's meant to be really.
Professional.
Yeah, he's meant to be a really good guy. He knows his stuff and things like that. He's meant to be a really nice guy. He's all one of these genuine tough guys you don't want to mess with, but at the same time he's also really got on the right side. Lovely. Yeah. Really nice.
In 1991, he was ranked 85th out of 500 of singles wrestlers for PWI. Top 500.
What year was that?
1991.
Okay.
So there'd be obviously Flair in that, and
a lot higher up though.
Yeah.
in 2003, I'm not quite sure why this was so late, but he was ranked 97 out of the top 100 best tag teams.
And is that all promotions? Or
Yeah.
Is that...
Yeah,
Pro Wrestling Inside. Is it Pro Wrestling
Illustrated.
is like, it's not affiliated with any promotion. It's just a magazine that
Yeah, it's
you
independent.
get.
Right,
It's quite prestigious though.
Covers
Yeah.
everything. And
Yeah. He did win a lot of championships for a lot of
Yeah, he just never won with WWE or
for a lot of
WCW.
So, International Association of Wrestling, he was the IAW Heavyweight Champion one time. Mainstream Wrestling Organisation, he was the MWO Heavyweight Championship at one time. iGeneration Heavyweight Championship. Exodus Wrestling Alliance, don't know who that one is.
No,
EWA,
don't know.
he was their champion. Championship International Wrestling, Hardcore Champion. He did win the WCW Hardcore title though.
Yeah, everyone won WCW
Well,
Hardcore title at one point.
And
Was that when it came back as the smashed up one?
That's WWF. WCW had their own Hardcore title as well.
Okay.
he is inducted into one Hall of Fame, which is a local.
Oh, but it'll be a WWE Hall of Fame. I don't know if that's a question you've got on there. On your.
I've got. What should he go in the WWE Hall of Fame?
I think he should. I genuinely think he should. As you know, as a staple of that era.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't mean to knock too much on the Hall of Fame, but looking who else is in there.
It'd be
And
a
this
bit
is not-
insulting not to.
Yeah, and this isn't a knock on the Barbarian, but who else is in there? You can't really say that whether he goes in as just a Barbarian or goes in as a Powers of Pain with Warlord. I think they deserve to go in. I mean, they're not headlining.
No.
They're definitely an also ran in that year.
Like,
but,
I mean, Coco Beware were around at that time, and Coco Beware's in.
yeah,
I know he was
He was
bigger in the parrot and all that sort of
but
stuff.
you know, same thing. You know, I think you know it's also one of the most memorable moments in Survivor Series history is the double turn.
Yeah.
I think you know, I think they deserve to
Yeah,
go
yeah.
in.
I mean, the fact that he's such a nice guy answers my next question because you know a lot of wrestlers of that time they were involved in like scandals and later on.
Oh
in
yeah,
life,
nothing's
they
ever
were-
really. That's probably one reason that he's almost been forgotten about is because
He's
he
not
never
done
did
any,
anything like that.
Not done any awkward X-Pac adult materials,
No.
Hulk Hogan videos.
Yes, Hulk Hogan's apology basically amounted to just don't get caught.
Yeah.
Basically his apology.
Yeah.
You never know who's going to be recording you. Wait, I don't think that's the message he wants to give here, Hulk.
Yeah.
Although I did hear, I'd rather read a Barbarian story, which I thought was really funny. He was out on the road with Meng Haku, and they were out one night having a nice meal, and this guy came up to him and went, hey, like poking Haku in the shoulder, which is a stupid thing to do in the first place. Going,
Yeah.
hey, you're Meng, aren't you? You're Meng. Yeah, I'm Meng. We signed this. I'm having some food. Just go away. Ooh, go away. Came back a few minutes later. Went, sign this. Went, no, go. I'm having some food. Just go away. And they're having, I don't know what they were, some relatively nice meal. And apparently came back like 3 or 4 times going, hey, you're meant to be a tough guy. But you won't even sign my autograph. Blah, blah. And apparently Meng just got so fed up with this. He just grabbed the guy by the shirt, put him on the table, bent down, bit off the end of his nose, threw him back, and then carried on eating. The entire time the Barbarian just sat down, eating his meal, saw this and just went, nah, I'm out. And just got up and walked away. Apparently Barbarian went, it takes a lot to put me off my food. But that was
that was one of them.
But seeing Meng bite the nose off an idiot fan.
Did Meng eat it?
I think he spat it out. I assume, I don't know, the story kind of ends.
There's lots of
Be a much cooler story if he did.
yeah, there's lots of
Bit of
stories about
sauce,
Haku
lovely.
and how
Brings a new meaning to the cannibals, doesn't it?
yeah how brutal he was. Haku.
There's always, there's always like, who would win in a fight, Haku or blah, 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 Haku
Yeah.
or blah, blah, blah. And it's always Haku.
Yeah,
Haku, who I think to this day could still kill you.
yeah,
Um,
probably.
how's Haku related to Seeker and
Afa. It'll be will it be nephew?
nephew, something like that. Just because again got me onto tangents. I heard the story of WrestleMania 31 because when Roman Reigns was meant to be crowned champion,
Yeah,
obviously
yeah.
they did a swerve. They didn't tell Seeker,
No.
and Seeker was at ringside, and apparently it took lots of big wrestlers to hold back aging Seeker from killing Vince.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, basically, don't mess with any of these people because they're lovely, but they'll fucking kill you.
Are you researching Haku?
Yeah, just another one I know nothing about. So.
Oh, Haku! No, you'd know. You'll look at Haku and go,
Yeah,
"Oh,
I
him."
recognise.
Haku was King Haku for a while.
Yeah, but he didn't win the King of the Ring. Didn't he just beat Harley? Did he
Yes,
beat Harley Race?
Because it was Harley Race's purple garb that he had.
Yeah, because that was one of the first times I saw Haku when he was King Haku. In fact, was he still King Haku at that point? When he tagged with Andre at WrestleMania 6.
Possibly.
Was he still King Haku? He was definitely wearing purple, but
he was part of the Heenan family still at that point.
Right.
Other than the 2 championships that he challenged for in WCW, he did have 2 other big crowning achievements in WWE. At WrestleMania 6, he pinned Tito Santana clean in their match there. And a Survivor Series in 88. I just need to... I've wrote down what it is, and I'm just need to check my own writing because it's like a child's scroll.
You ever got my bloody writing?
Yeah, I know. Oh, they were the Barbarian and Warlord were the final 2 survivors of their, which was the swerve,
Yes,
the double turn, but they were the final 2 survivors.
That was probably the biggest push they got in WWE, wasn't it? Or WWF at the time.
But again, everywhere they seem to go, they seem to bump into the Road Warriors, which again, big men.
They're of that ilk. Well, if you watch, again, we're talking about the barbed wire match.
Yeah.
If you watch, they've both got both teams have got plain black tights with red writing down the side and face paint. So they were very similar in the general aesthetics.
Yeah. I mean, there's one other question that I've got really. Why isn't he in the Hall of Fame? Why do we think he's not? We think he'll go in, but why?
I just genuinely think that he just haven't got round to him yet. Yeah. I don't think it's a snub, but I don't think it's either thing he haven't got round to him.
Is it something to do with the fact that he's still wrestling as well on independent circuits?
Not necessarily. Some still do. Some still do.
Demolition still do. I mean, they're not that get very far, but
no, and also they're not in the Hall of Fame.
No, because they're suing, aren't they? Still.
Well, he was part of the same. That might be wrong because he was part of that lawsuit.
Yes.
He was part of that lawsuit. That might be why actually.
Yeah. Because it went to also.
There were loads of people in that lawsuit. So that could be why. But I think he will one day. Let's put it this way: everyone who deserves to go in, bar Benoit, will eventually. Will eventually go in.
Yeah. Do you think he'll go in as an inductee, a standard inductee? I think he'll go in as a legacy.
If he's dead, he'll go in as a legacy.
Yeah.
I think if he's alive, he'll be the first person to go in that year.
Yeah.
But if he's dead, he'll go into a legacy. I reckon. I think just because of who he is and about the data,
what he's done,
and what he stands for. I think he will go in. He's got to.
I think everywhere he goes, just from reading up when he's been in independent circuits, he's helped young lads. Certainly.
Yeah, again, that's why a lot of people hold him in high regard because of
talent development.
Yeah.
He seems to be one of the few people from that era who will hold the door open.
Yeah.
A lot of people from that era just won't. No one helped them, so they're not going to help anyone else. Basically,
I had to fight to get in, so you've got to fight.
I mean, not quite in the Terry Funk manner of trying to hold the door open for everybody he ever meets.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, he's willing to pass on his knowledge and willing to help people. I mean, willing to help people might be right. You want to know how this feels, right? Stand there. I'm going to hit you as hard as I can. It might be that kind of letting you know.
Or was it Hogan who trained Hogan in Japan when he broke his leg or tried to break his leg?
Oh, I don't know.
What's a Great Muta? No, that were.
I don't think
Great Muta.
That were later on, weren't it?
Yeah, I don't.
It was a prominent Japanese wrestler, and he went to Japan to start to train, and
I mean, I've seen that awful picture of him trying to do an Enziguri in Antonio Inoki. If you really think you can't do anything, just watch Hulk Hogan trying to do an Enziguri on Antonio Inoki.
What's an Enziguri again?
It's when you put one leg up on like that, and then you try and kick them in the head with the other one.
Yeah. So you've got one foot here, and then your other one comes.
It's normally if someone's gone for a kick, the kick's been caught, and then they'll get him with a roundhouse to the head.
Yeah.
But just again, another tangent, and it sounds like I work Doctor Who into everything we talk about. I can't hear the name Warlord, but I think in an episode of Doctor Who, because there's one person there was a character called the Warlord, but there's a person who read the script.
Really?
Yeah. But someone read the script and they put a really weird emphasis on it. It says, we're going to take you to see the Warlord. So whenever I hear Warlord, it's Barbarian and Warlord. And there's no reason. It's just my brain going, I'm going to annoy you now.
Did he have a little silver half mask on?
He didn't. Why did Warlord have this really shitty... That's the only thing that's really survived a Warlord now, because he had the record for the elimination in the Rumble for ages. Because he came in, posed, climbed in, and then got closed. Was it by Warrior he got eliminated by? And clotheslined that straight away. I mean, it's not quite Bushwhacker who just walks in one side and got thrown out the other and carried on. But,
just walks back round.
Yeah. But that's pretty much the only thing that survives of Warlord now, really,
Yeah.
isn't it? Is that one clip with these terrible Phantom of the Opera
Yeah.
style face mask and his weird W staff. Okay, this is how you spell it, with a W. Oh, thank you.
I'm surprised the Miz have brought that back the other way around.
I'll give it 6 weeks. Give it 6
Yeah.
weeks and he will.
Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to say, Jake?
No, I mean, I'm just going to say this episode's been wild. I have learned some things.
To be fair, I didn't know that about the sumos. I genuinely didn't
That
know
was one
about-
thing that I said. I did a bit of research yesterday. It's one of the things that I pulled out that I thought might be quite interesting.
He did have some decent matches in WCW. Like he fought Dean Malenko a few times. And Dean Malenko is one of the people who could pull a good match out of anyone.
Yeah.
He lost a lot of weight by the time he went to WCW.
Yeah.
He lost a lot of the bulk.
It's called not being on steroids anymore.
That'll be why.
Yeah, nothing else from me.
Have you got anything else, James?
No. I think we've said.
I think
everything.
we've covered the
I think we've covered him.
Barbarian in review.
Yes, I think we have actually. Yeah.
So, one last thing. You've been great. We've been Cabin Night. Good night.